Hi, I'm Walter Danley, and we're here at the San Antonio Riverwalk near my home in Boerne, Texas. I want to talk to you about the release of my new mystery suspense thriller, Inside Moves. It's the second in the Wainwright mystery series and follows on the heels of The Tipping Point, which was the first book. Imagine, if you will, waking up in the hospital, not knowing how you got there or who you are. The only thing you do know is what's in your wallet and the clothes that you were wearing when you were admitted to the hospital. A cowboy hat, expensive boots, and a long leather duster. It doesn't make any sense, except they fit. And so does the key on your key ring when you go to the condominium that the taxi driver takes you to at the address on your driver's license. The key fits just like your clothes. Wainwright needs to find out who he is. And the only way to do that is to plow through the drawers of his desk and the closets in the condominium to find out who he is. And what he discovers is that he's not alone in the condominium. Lacey Kincaid Wainwright also lives there. He knows this because there's 2 airline ticket stubs laying on top of the desk that are about a month old, the time he was in a coma in the hospital. There's 2 passports showing Mr. and Mrs. Wainwright. Also, a marriage license was close by. So Wainwright is married to Lacey Kincaid Wainwright, but where is she? She hasn't been in the apartment, neither has he, for over 30 days. So now, in addition to finding out who he is, he has to find out who she is. That's the beginning of the mystery. In 1986, my partners and I sold our real estate investment company, and I retired the first time. And unfortunately, it only lasted a couple of weeks, but during that 2 weeks, I had the idea that I was going to write the great American novel. I lived on the beach in Malibu. All I had to do was walk my 2 golden retrievers. I was married to a movie star, and I had lots of money in the bank, and it was just a wonderful life. That lasted for 2 weeks, and I never got much more than the first chapter written. 20 years later, I finished that book, and that was The Tipping Point. That's the one that you may have read, one I hope you read. The story of Garth Wainwright is a compilation of all the people that I have known throughout my business career. There's some of me in Garth Wainwright. There's a lot of other people in Garth Wainwright and those that he deals with. It's really an amalgamation of personalities who I found both dear and oppressing at times, but people who were memorable. And that's what I think readers want to read. That's what I want to read. I read people like Michael Connelly, Sandra Brown, Robert Kreis, and their work, because I read them all the time, is reflected in mine. It's a natural evolution, and I'm proud to be compared to some of those fine writers and be in their company. In The Tipping Point, in the first book in the series, that's mainly about the romance between Garth Wainwright and him meeting Lacey Kincaid. She's a big-time business attorney in Boston. They meet at a negotiation, mutual attraction, they fall in love, they date. He lives in LA, she lives in Boston. After the bi-coastal romance, she finally moves to the LA office of her law firm and moves in with Garth Wainwright. They've been together for 4 years. They intended to get married earlier than that, but between his publishing schedule for his writing and her cases in litigation, they just didn't have a chance until now, at the beginning of Inside Moves. Now, what some of my readers are not going to like is what happens at the end of Inside Moves. And I won't tell you about it, that's a spoiler, but it sets the stage for the rest of the Wainwright series. And for that, I'm very pleased. I'm pleased about how that storyline develops and goes into the rest of the series. And I hope you will be too. When I started writing Inside Moves, I realized that in order for that storyline, as it was developing, to continue, that I had to go back and change some of the original text in The Tipping Point. And so there's two editions of The Tipping Point. The second edition is the one that's currently available at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com and Flipkart in India and Whitestone in England. The point is that it was important to me to put out a good product with the inside moves. I think you'll enjoy that. The issue about who writes the book, the author or the characters, it's a little bit of both. But in Inside Moves, truly the characters took charge of the writing process. They took me in places that I never would have gone, wouldn't have thought of, but they took me there by virtue of their characterization. And I found it to be a delightful place. I hope you will too. I think you'll enjoy Inside Moves. Look for it at your favorite online bookstore.